What's up, everyone? Welcome to Among the Fence, my YouTube channel where I do music reviews. My name is Aaron. Today we're going to be checking out the new album from Mental Cruelty titled Zwielicht, or Twilight in English. I hope I pronounced it correctly. For those of you who don't know, Mental Cruelty is a blackened death metal or blackened deathcore band, I guess you could say, from Germany. They started around 2016, and this is their fourth studio album, and I've really enjoyed this band's journey. When they first came around, I didn't care for them too much. They kind of just blended in and sounded a lot like everything else. But now they've developed their own sound. You can definitely recognize them when you hear them. They've found their own writing style, which stands out to me quite a bit. And when they were asked about this album, they gave a pretty good description of what it's going to be about. They said, "Let's embrace a new era of darkness by bringing the black into black and heavy music. Join us on the way down to the infernal gates of hell to be rebirthed back to life. The album will contain the most mind-bending variety of different heavy musical influences and sounds. Epic symphonic orchestras accompanied by slam breakdowns, and this will have it all, inspired by metaphors written by nature, death, and inner demons." So basically, like they said, this will have it all. A lot of people have kind of not criticized, but compared them to Lorna Shore, which to me, I could see where, it's symphonic. There's a lot of similarities there, but to me, this band has always stood out a little bit more. But that description definitely catches my eye and my interest. So let's jump into this thing. The album opens up with the song Midwinter, which is an instrumental, and it sounds like we're getting ready to set sail and go on an epic journey. It goes right into Obsessus a Demonio, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, which doesn't hold back. It comes in with snarling vocals, orchestration, and a dark riff. It reminds me a little bit of Shadow of Intense, especially when the blast beats come in. The cleaner style vocals that still have a little bit of grit to them sound fantastic, especially in execution amongst all the other sounds that are going on. It makes a good contrast between the different types of distorted vocals. The breakdown goes hard as it gets really low growls, and the real clean vocals come in the bridge, and they just sound absolutely majestic. Then we have one of my favorite songs on this album, Forgotten Kings, which is inspired by the story of The Lost Sinner, which is found in Dark Souls. It's about a man who's chained to the top of a mountain. He symbolizes isolation, confinement, and guilt. It goes pretty strong on the old school, like, black metal vibe, especially within the verses, while the orchestration gives it more of like a modern kind of feel, as does the production, of course. It doesn't sound like it's all recorded in a cave. It becomes really epic as it goes into the chorus. It's got blast beats. It's driven by this kind of theatrical feel to it. Verse 2 becomes almost bouncy, and the breakdown is both slow and fast with very intense vocals. It's just open, and there's a lot of stuff going on around it, and it sounds beautiful. Pest starts off with low guttural growls and blast beats and a haunting melody that hangs out in the background. And the end of verse 1 has a great sounding choir, adds a lot of depth to it. I'm glad it's not something that they overused. While the chorus has a lot more, again, just an open feel to it with the lead melody and cleaner sounding vocals. Makes, again, a great contrast. It sounds absolutely fantastic. The breakdown in this song is going to want to make you flip your couch over. And the guitar solo, which I'm surprised I enjoyed as much. It was just absolutely, it was fantastic. Again, there's a lot of contrast going on. The guitar solo was a little bit slower sounding, had a little bit more of an atmospheric kind of feel to it and purpose to it, while the drums were just going crazy behind it, and it just sounds so good. Mortal Shells also has an old school feel to it, and I really enjoyed the orchestration mixed with the powerful drum work. It's kind of theatrical as it drops out as it goes into the chorus, but it slowly builds its way back up. It has an incredible groove about halfway through, and the production, it's a little unexpected the way it has this stop and go kind of feel to it. It makes the breakdown feel a little bit heavier, makes it go harder, and it's almost sort of like hopeful towards the end of the song before it gets to the brutal outro. Then we have another one of my favorite songs, Nordlys, which is about different interpretations of the Northern Lights by Vikings and Norwegian tribes, and how fear only really exists in our head, and how we should try to expect more of a positive outcome. And I love the haunting lead guitar and just how the acoustic section keeps going through. It has this really somatic feel to it, specifically in the songwriting, and I guess also in the lyrics as well. It becomes a little bit more intense as it goes into verse 2 before the second chorus, as the rhythm The rhythm in the song picks up quite a bit. The breakdown is absolutely beautiful with all of its dissonance. This one stands out to me as probably like one of their flagship songs. If I was going to show this band to someone, I would probably start with Nordlys, especially if they're already into, black metal. This would definitely really get people excited for sure. Then we have the title track song, which is Zwielicht, which again, I'm not really sure if that's how it's pronounced. And the entire song is all in German. It sounds like a old like Nordic or like old folk kind of song. It translates to the sun basically going down, and the protagonist's mind is basically his biggest enemy amongst this. He can't breathe. He can't find the strength to go on because it's just his thoughts are attacking him more than anything else. And then we have Symphony of the Dying Star, which goes right back into the chaos with a strong symphonic melody. The heaviness definitely forces its way through, though. Every once in a while, you don't realize that it's missing until it comes out. And then it kind of like reiterates everything that was said in the title track song, just with a lot more power, especially in the breakdown. And I love the clean and the distorted vocal kind of duet thing going on with the strong orchestration. And it doesn't really feel like the orchestration is being overdone. This is song number 8, and I feel like it still sounds fresh, and they're just using it in different ways. They're finding ways to just spice up their music rather than lean on it too much. The Arrogance of Agony has a more straightforward, separated kind of death metal and black metal sections to it. Instead of it being more blatantly formed together, there's actual sections that separate these things. And the quiet sections in this song really made it stand out to me, especially with the more audible guitar moments that you can hear throughout it. The songwriting in this is absolutely fantastic, and the creativity and the daringness of it's great. It feels like this story is coming to an end musically and lyrically, as again the protagonist is starting to realize and question his ability to continue forward as he sees his situation around him. Then we have the closing track, The Tale of Salt and Light, which completes this journey really well. And this is another song that I feel like stands out very strongly on its own in telling the story of this album. Another song that I would show to people if I had a chance to try and get them into this. It has a great atmosphere of hope again, but even more so than I found in Mortal Shells. The chorus is blast beats, the orchestration and lead guitar work just mesh so well together in this song as it continues throughout the verse. The breakdown is brutal as ever, and it seems to almost never really end. And then the riff that follows it afterwards might be one of my favorite riffs on this entire album. It just only lasts for, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds, I would say. It also has one of the best solos on this album, where I found myself kind of wondering why I was enjoying it so much. It's just so melodic. It's fast, but it's not like blazingly show off kind of nonsense fast. It feels like it's part of the song. It works really well. It's serving the song instead of being more of a showing off kind of thing. And this is just a fantastic closing track. I enjoyed this album quite a bit. It reminds me a little bit of Shadow Intense Melancholy, and don't get me wrong, it doesn't hit quite as hard. I don't enjoy it that much, but this is still a really damn good album. The songwriting in it is beautiful. The black metal influences are great. They give this band a lot of extra creativity to work with, and it gives it more dynamic, something I never thought I would say about black metal. And I love the production in this as well. With the orchestration, it's still really raw without it being too polished, especially the vocals. They stand out quite a bit to me. The instrumentation is fantastic. All of the musicianship is just absolutely brilliant, top notch. My only issue I really had with this still kind of does fall on the mix and the production. I really wanted the guitars to stand out a little bit more. The drums are almost always the focal point, followed by the orchestration and the synth stuff, which, I mean, it doesn't sound bad, but the riffs are kind of hidden behind all that. They add to the music while everything else is basically like the focal point. And if you listen really carefully, you could hear that the guitars are doing some really cool stuff. You just can't really hear it. And the only time you really can hear the guitars are during the breakdown, which is another issue I had, is that the breakdowns all sort of sound basically the same. They're almost the exact same tempo. They almost have all the same kind of drum fills It's almost just rinse and repeat every time you get to a breakdown, and when you do, you basically know exactly what to expect. To me, it doesn't really hurt the album that much, though. I still enjoyed it quite a bit. So with all that said, I gotta give Zwielicht by Mental Cruelty a 7.6 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. Leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Zwielicht. Let me know what you would rate it, what your favorite song is. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. Doing that helps me out so much with YouTube's algorithm. And if you want to continue seeing my content, it helps out a lot with that as well. I'll start showing up in your recommended stuff. And if you want to help support me and my channel, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon. That way you get notified. You don't miss out on any of my future videos. And I just thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to listen to me sit here and talk about music. And I hope you have a good rest of your day or night, whenever you have me watching this. And I will talk to you guys next time.
I was trapped in ignorant, kid relying on